The way the 365 idea came about was from studying the photographer Jim Brandenburg. Jim is the famous National Geographic photographer in Minnesota, and he shot a picture a day for a whole season, and then he covered several seasons, and it totally inspired me. And it took a couple years for the timing to be right for our business to do a venture like that, but back in October, I'd say, of 2009, I talked to Sarah, our general manager, and my dad about the idea of my dad and I each shooting a photo a day for the entire year of 2010. And they both loved the idea, and so we just went for it. And when we started, we just were doing the shooting. We really didn't know where it was going to go. We didn't know if it would become a book or a DVD, calendar. We really had no concept. We were just doing the shooting. And the first week was done of shooting, and I put all 14 photos up on Facebook, and it was an instant hit. The response we got on the social media was just incredible, and the fans wanted more. So it inspired us even more to try to take better photos, stay out longer, get up earlier, and every week the response kept getting bigger and bigger, and it was a lot of fun. The fans actually started to have a big part in the project. One of the things they wanted was, with our captions we would write about each photo, they wanted the metadata or the f-stop shutter speed with each photo. So we had enough fans ask us for that. We started putting it in Facebook in the captions, and then we had fans writing us say, hey, there's this cool ice sculpture over here. There's a tug coming in the harbor in an hour. You should get down there and shoot it. And so we were listening. We were always in touch with the customers and the fans, and it was a very interactive process, which made it a whole lot more fun for everybody and more successful. And about a month into it, the response had been so good, we knew that we could probably do a book. So we put out on Facebook, hey, if we did a book of this project, would you buy it? Do you think it's a cool idea? And again, the response was, yes, do a book, we'll buy it. And so we started kind of formulating an idea of what the book might be, but still wasn't set in stone. We were just out shooting, having fun, and I was spending a lot of time on the computer every day editing, and I would edit my dad's and my work and tone the images and get them ready so that every Friday or so we could upload those 14 new photos on Facebook. And it became very time-consuming, but it was the coolest, most fun project I've ever done in my life. And I think that excitement comes through in the photos and in the writing. And I think the writing in this book is more important than any of our previous books. Our previous books were more, the photos did the talking and the writing was just secondary. I think in this project, the writing is equally as important to get the full story of our photographic lives, because 365, right from the get-go, we decided there were no rules. We could shoot anywhere, we could shoot any subject. So if I got a great picture of my son Ethan playing at home, that could be in the project. Or if we had to travel, because I knew in a year we weren't going to be in Ludington every single day, or Mason County or Oceana County. We were going to probably at times have to go somewhere, and ended up in May being in Maui for a week with my wife. So our 365 photos for that whole week are in Hawaii. And my dad went to Georgia a couple times to visit my brother in the Army, and his photos are from his trip. And you'll see a picture of a liger in the book, and that's down in Georgia at an animal zoo. And the project really was kind of free for us to grow and learn as photographers. Technically, I became such a better photographer from the beginning of the book to the end of the book. I got to the point where I could look at a scene and know what lens I wanted and pretty much what f-stop and shutter speed I was going to have to shoot it before I ever pulled my camera up to my eye, and I'd only have to click the shutter 2 or 3 times and I could be done. And it was very liberating for me, because I used to have a lot of anxiety. Did I get the right shot today? Or if I shot a sunset in the morning but then there was a nice sunset at night, in the past I used to kind of dread, oh man, I got to shoot them both, I got to get it. Where with 365, once I knew I had a good one in the bank, I could just relax and enjoy that sunset. And it was just extremely liberating as an artist and photographer to be able to grow that way, and then to share that growth with the world, with Facebook and with our website. And it was fun to watch also my dad's photography grow and evolve. You know, he'd been shooting for 40 plus years and pretty much shooting the same area geographically his whole life, but day in and day out he was coming back with new, exciting, fresh perspectives and technically capturing them better than he ever had. So I think it was a huge growth for both of us. In the 365 project, I think there were a few peak visual moments for me that I witnessed, but the best was day 299 of 365, which is the shot of the huge wave going over the Ludington Lighthouse. And I've shot several storms, and even as a little kid following my dad when he would photograph the storms, or I'd watch him bounce out there in his Coast Guard boat from shore. But this storm was so different because it was sunny and beautiful, and the sky was gorgeous, blue with huge billowy clouds, but the wind was 70 miles an hour, the sand was blowing and felt like sandpaper, and so it was the combination of the sunny, beautiful day, but the treacherous storm, and the waves just kept getting bigger and bigger, and we were really busy at the gallery getting ready for a show. I couldn't leave to shoot, but it was the fans of 365 that kind of demanded that we get those peak moments, and I knew if I didn't get out and shoot that storm, I'd be letting a lot of people down. So I put everything at work on hold, went down to the beach, and 20 minutes later I shot the photo of my lifetime. And if it wasn't for the 365 project, I would have never gotten that picture. So I thank everybody for kind of following along and encouraging us and keeping us going, because it was their intensity and their enjoyment that helped get me out the door to shoot that picture. One of the funnest parts of 365 for me was watching my daughter Julia, who was 4 for most of 2010, watching her photographically change, and she could start to see pictures when we would drive up to a scene, and she would point things out, and she got really into noticing patterns. They learned patterns at school, and then Betsy and I would kind of foster that idea at home with her arts and crafts, and then we'd be driving around looking for photos, and Julia would start to point out patterns to me. And there's 3 or 4 photos in the book that she actually noticed the pattern before I did, and then I went in and micro-composed and made art out of what she had seen. So that was really cool for me. I also really want to thank Betsy, my wife, for being patient. There were times where I could tell from the sky or the clouds that there was going to be a good sunset, and I'd call her and say, hey, I can't pick up the kids, can you go pick them up? And I might be late for dinner, and she was always very understanding, because this was all-encompassing project, and the photography sometimes had to come first, and she totally understood that. And when we went on our trip to Hawaii, which was kind of the 10-year anniversary of us starting to date, and that's why we went on the trip, I still had to shoot a photo a day, and she was extremely understanding. I took the camera wherever we went, and I just really want to thank her for her patience. And she also edited the book, which she's done with all of our previous books, and her keen eye and sense of language made the writing much better and more professional. If I had to kind of wrap up 365 and how it changed us, I think it just made us better photographers. Now we kind of see that if you get an idea, you can just roll with it. And in today's society, in the fast pace, you don't have to have a concrete set plan, more like we did with the State Park book. You can kind of roll with the punches, and that's more what we did with the 365. We listened to people, we got their input, and it evolved, and it became very interactive, and I think in the end it made the project a lot better. It made it a lot more fun for us. And even though 365 just covers the year of 2010 from beginning to end, I think 2010 is going to live for a long time for us personally, but also for our customers and our fans.